Do you like traditional styling with modern materials? Are you a baller on a budget? Well, today's your lucky day, because we're going to take a look at not one, but two gorgeous modern traditional knives. And I'm going to tell you how you can get both of these for quite a bit less than you think. Stick around. What it do, Kripple Krew? EDC with DBD, disabled but deadly. And we are going to be looking at knives from Tuya and QSP today, courtesy of the LeftyEDC passaround. Before we get into that though, stab that like button like you mean it, and make sure that you've /subscribe and that you bash that bell for notifications so you don't miss anything as we kick it off with the Tuya Rackham Jack, which is a collaboration between Dave Warren at Tuya Knives and Andy Thiel. It comes in a few styles, rocking titanium and M390. What we're looking at is 7 and just under 7.5 inches overall length, with a 3 1/4 inch M390, in this case drop point blade. There's also what they call buoy editions, with a handle length coming in just under 4 1/4 inches, a blade stock thickness of 120 thousandths, and a weight of 3.5 ounces. The blade is actuated with either the flipper tab, which even though it is set a bit below the center line of the pivot, it's still designed well enough to get you a very nice flick. And whether you are light switching it or push button, it's going to fly out every time. And then we've got the nail nick on either side. And this works perfectly for the reverse flick. Oh, it feels so good on the reverse flick. And let's see if I can. Yes, I can actually thumb flick that pretty easy, which isn't always the case with frame locks and myself. This beautiful, nearly spear point, drop point blade here has a full flat grind. And it comes down to a nice slicey edge. And as you can see on this one here, this is the Sagaha pattern. We have titanium scales that are milled for weight reduction, and then this beautiful Sagaha pattern. There is also a jigged tie version, which is the only one that I can find currently still available. That's actually at White Mountain Knives, and I will be linking that below. It's M390. It's this blade, but with the jigged tie, and that is $189 on their website. So if you use code DBD, it's going to be like $170. Killer deal. These come with a placard, certificate of authenticity, COA. This one is serial number 42, and they made 71 of this version. They only made limited numbers of each of the 4 versions. And that one that I see on White Mountain Knives, if you like this knife, I would jump on that right away. We have a milled tie pocket clip that is tip up as the gods intended, but it is reversible. No, because it is inset. It is not reversible. And we have a titanium backspacer, mid-length backspacer. Our scales are beautifully contoured. And the way this flares from narrower to wider back here really fills the hand comfortably. And I can get a really solid 4-finger grip with my extra large glove size hands. And that jimping locks you in to a saber grip. The jimping on the back of the flipper tab also helps to lock me in. And it's wide and contoured and just very comfortable. Feels great in hand. Comfortable in a pinch grip to get that tip down, or utility style grip. big enough and comfortable enough to turn around if you had to cut some straps. You know, this is probably not your beef jerky defense knife, but also you use what's on you at the time you need it. And in a beef jerky Avenger grip, I am very comfortably locked in with my thumb going along the curve and those contoured scales really feeling like they're not going to go anywhere. I'm also constantly putting pressure on that lock bar to make sure that the blade can't close. And in a beef jerky Avenger grip, I'm still capped off, and though it's not quite as comfortable, I don't feel like it's going anywhere. We are locked up at about 45% and perfectly centered. We do have a hardened steel lock bar insert so that we're not titanium on steel, meaning making sure that we're not going to have any lock stick or unnatural wear. Our hardware, we have a T8 pivot and T6 on the pocket clip and lock bar insert screw, and it looks like the body clips or the body screws are also, those are all also T6s. So T8 pivot, T6 hardware. Other than that, I would like to see T8s all around, of course. Our plunge grind starts here and ends right about there. So we do have a little bit of sharpening life with that sharpening choil, and because the stop pin lands back behind our flipper tab, it means you could easily extend that if you needed to. M390 is going to be really good for EDC tasks. It's going to hold its edge for a good long time, and it's going to be highly corrosion resistant. Not necessarily the toughest, but this isn't necessarily a this isn't a hard use knife, really. This is a beautiful, you know, dress knife, date night knife, office carry, or really just anytime you want to look good. This, you know, of Tuya's designs, I was not expecting to like this one very much. And of all the ones that I've checked out so far, this is actually my favorite because of the comfort in hand and because of how much I like that reverse flick. I got that first flick feeling when I pulled this out of the box, and I've been in love with it since. I think they did a killer job. If I had any suggestions, I would like to see T8s, of course. And though I appreciate getting a pocket clip and being able to carry this in a modern way, not having to put it in a pouch, and this clip, even though it rides on the Sakaha, does go in and out of my pockets pretty easily. I wear 5'11" tactical pants. I had no problem getting this in and out of my pocket, and it didn't feel like it was going to be a shredder either. But I do think that with the beautiful styling of this knife, they could have given us something a little more elegant instead of just a standard milled clip. And because it only has one screw, you do get a little bit of wobble. Let's see if it's tight. It's pretty tight, but you still get a little bit of movement back and forth because there's only one screw. Not bad. It's not enough that it would bother me. Just something I wanted to point out. But the Tuya Rackham Jack is a beautiful and comfortable knife. Up next is a slip joint coming to us from QSP and Traditional Pocket Knives. This is the Traditional Pocket Knives exclusive QSP Hedgehog. QSP and TPK, TraditionalPocketKnives.com, have quite a few versions of the Hedgehog available. There's the premium versions in S90V, and then they also have budget versions in 14C 28N. They have a whole bunch of different wild handle materials. This saw cut titanium is currently sold out, but they have other titanium. They have glow-in-the-dark carbon fiber with S90V. They have beautiful acrylic scales with 14C, lots of variants. But what we're looking at with the Hedgehog is an overall length of 6.69 inches with a blade length of 2.91 inches. We are looking at an S90V Spear Point blade with a full hollow grind and a satin finish. Yes, I said a full hollow grind. Our cutting edge itself is 2.62 inches. We have a closed length of 3.77 inches and a blade stock thickness of 110 thousandths. Our weight on this comes in at only 2.7 ounces. And it feels like it is definitely a little on the butt heavy side, balanced right about there. But that weight feels really good in the palm of my hand. It is large enough for me to get a full finger grip, full 4-finger grip. And, you know, this is a slip joint, so it's not something you're going to be using for any heavy duty tasks. This is a light duty knife. You're using a lot of it in, like, say, a pinch grip to open packages. Very comfortable, very easy to get that tip down. I really wouldn't recommend throwing your finger up there on a slip joint. But if you had to do a little bit of work with your thumb back here, you could. They list this with a pull of 8 out of 10. And I'm kind of inclined to agree with them on that. It is a very stout pull with a strong half stop and beautiful walk and talk. Here's some acoustics. Oh, it just sounds so good. That full height hollow grind with this S90V. Whoop, that was my fault. Comes down to a very slicey edge. As long as you hit the paper. Oh, the paper's wet right there. That's why it was tearing. But our S90V full hollow grind is going to hold that edge for a good long time. And it's going to stay thin behind the edge even after quite a few sharpenings. Once again, let's take a look at our plunge grind, which starts here and ends right about here. So we do have that sharpening life before you would need to think about widening that. Our back spring is perfectly flush. Still perfectly flush. Yeah, we are completely flush in all 3 positions. Closed, half, and open. That nice long pull does make it easy to get in and out, even with that stouter pull strength on it, because there's plenty for me to get a hold of and grip open. These are very well made by QSP, and with so many styles available in both the 14C and the S90V, there's going to be one that you like. If you're into slip joints. If you haven't tried slip joints, these would be great ones to start with because the value is phenomenal. Again, whether we're talking 14C or S90V, we'll do a couple quick size comparisons. Here is the TRM Neutron 2, which is going to be a little over 1/4 of an inch longer. How about my Rosecraft blade Clinch River Jack? Clinch River Swayback is what I meant. About 1/4 of an inch longer. This, I would put that at about a 3 on the pull. So they say 8, maybe a 7. maybe 7. I love that beautiful spear point. And this saw cut tie does look great. Again, this one is currently sold out, but they have a jigged tie that looks awesome. They have a whole bunch of different versions, really. They even have some that have a bit of a Spanish cleaver blade to them. I definitely can see myself adding a hedgehog to the collection now that I've checked one out. I've thought that they looked great and I thought that they were priced well, but I don't often carry a slip joint. I've tried, I can make it a part of my daily carry for a while, but this is one that I could definitely see giving a try. I like the contoured scales. It's just comfortable. And with a nice slip, would be very easy to carry. Pardon me. Traditional Pocket Knives also has a bunch of slips that you can check out there. Oh, by the way, code, I'll put it on the screen. Code DBDTPK will save you $5 on any of these. So drop the titanium and S90V or the glow shred carbon fiber and S90V down to like $144 and $94 for the 14C28N. I think these are done very well. And I really, really like this one. It's too bad these were such a limited run. They're the one that I am linking below. I'm highly tempted to snag it instead of linking it, but I'm going to link it below. Somebody can pick it up for $170. If you grab it, let me know. I want to know your thoughts on these 2 knives, balling on a budget, I think both are gorgeous. Hope everybody has a killer day, night, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Stay safe, stay frosty. Most importantly, stay deadly.